welcome to Merlin's Miniatures. My name's Dan, and in this painting tutorial we're going to be looking at the quad launcher battery from the Horus Heresy. Now I'm going to be painting this in the Sons of Horus scheme, trying to keep it a little bit grimdark but still keeping a lot of colour and a lot of punch for the tabletop. Now if you are new to these parts, do please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, all those things, and letting us know what you want to see in the future. Many of the products that we use in this video can be found in the description below. Now let's get to the tutorial. So we have primed our miniatures in black, nothing fancy, and we're going to come in with Incubi Darkness and add this as our base and shadow tone. I've applied this with an airbrush, but you could easily just do it with two thin coats using your brush. Next up, Pharaoh Guard from Warpaint Fanatics. Again, I'm putting this on with an airbrush. You could easily do this with a brush, or you could even stipple it or dry brush this. If you choose to dry brush it, you can go extra heavy and really overbrush this paint, because this will be the main colour for our armour. Next up is Talisman Teal from Warpaint Fanatics, and with this paint what I'm going to be doing is using a small offcut of sea sponge or just packing foam, and I'm going to be dabbing this and stippling this on, and also using it almost like a dry brush, but mainly I'll be stippling to add texture and to add highlights. Next up, we're going to be looking at any of the sections we want to be black, and also the tank tracks. I'm using Black Legion for this because I think it has fantastic coverage and is very user friendly. But you could use any black paint. And when it comes to our marine, we are looking at the shoulder pad, knee pad, the backpack, and any sort of the under armour you can see in the creases of the elbow and the back of the knee. But if in doubt, you could always refer to the box art for any inspiration of how much you want to add. Next up, the first of the metallics of Vallejo metal colour steel. We're going over any of those like piping and little metallic bits that we want to add that little bit of punch to the miniature, like the vents on the backpack. We're going to use that same metal colour for the actual quad launcher itself. The only thing we're going to do slightly differently is when it becomes the tracks, we're going to dry brush, stipple, just trying to leave some of that black underneath so it looks very worn, like it's been wheeling across the battlefield for years and years. And just pick out as much silver as you like. Again, you can always refer to the box art for inspiration. One very quick and easy thing to do at this stage is to pick a nice warm mid-tone brown to do all of the leather holsters, or basically any of the straps that you want to be leather. A nice mid-tone will mean once it's washed we won't have to sink any more time into it and it still look very effective. So now the second of our metallics for the edges of the shoulders, we are using Pro Acrylic Bronze. There are lots of fantastic metallics out there at the moment, but Pro Acrylics Bronze is a personal favourite of mine and I cannot stop using it. And with the turret / mobile gun itself, just pick out any points of interest you want to add that little bit of bronze or just a little bit of colour variation. So we're getting to the stage now where it's the smaller details like lenses, cables, etc. For this I'm going to use a white or a grey sear or something like that I can apply some of the more punchier contrasts over the top, just to really speed up this little process for the smaller details that I'm not too fussed about drawing much attention to. So my three punchy contrasts are Striking Scorpion for anything green, Bile Red for anything red, and Imperial Fist for the odd little bit of yellow, which I think I use very sparingly. Now we really are getting somewhere now. I want to do one bit of normal sort of shading before we start looking at a uniform wash over the entire model, and I'm going to use Ratling Grime, which I think is my favourite, most versatile contrast paint, and I'm going to mix it 70-30 with Lamium Medium. You can use contrast medium it doesn't really make too much difference. And all we want to do with this wash is go over all of our metallics. Feel free to use it as a panel liner, but just be very careful. And the same for the mobile gun. We're going to use it over all of the mechanical parts and also the tracks. And once that's done, it is the perfect time to apply transfers before we get into the dirty part of this tutorial. So, streaking grime. This is the universal grime wash. It works with so many colours, and I figured for this it's a good gateway drug into the world of enamels and oils. Instead of using this just out the pot, where I have quite a punchy teal, I have watered this down by, or thinned it by 30% with Artist White Spirit from Winsor and Newton. And once it's thinned, I'm just going to apply it all over the model. And for those of you who haven't used oils before or enamels, the whole plan is that you cover most of the model and then it dries within sort of 30 minutes and you can sort of reactivate the paint and pull it away from the model and it leaves this lovely matte blended finish. So I've left that now for about half hour, 40 minutes, and I have my 3 weapons of choices: a small makeup sponge, a larger makeup sponge, and a paintbrush. The good thing about these larger makeup sponges is you can just tear them into something a bit more manageable and use them, and you can get a lot of mileage out of your investment of buying a bag of these little sponges. So all you need to do is take a tiny bit of mineral spirits onto this sponge and just start wicking it away. You can do this by dabbing it, you can do it by brushing it downwards or across the surface like you would a dry brush, and you can create some really interesting effects. So with that wicked away, it is now a case of just adding a few highlights and basing. Now, one of the things that I like about this style of painting is I tend to use the original base colour before the oil wash as the highlight. For the reds, we are using Mephiston red, and then for the armour, we're going to come back in with the Talisman teal. And we don't want to be picking out every edge. We just want to pick out the ones that give us the most interesting shapes or anything you think would catch the light. You can also add scratches to the armour. We are also going to add little bits of silver, and we're just going to lightly flick over the very top edges just to give it a little bit of a highlight. Once that's done, we're going to add the final touch to these, and that is just that little white glint in the lenses and the glass. So for this, I've got my very cool magnifying goggles on, so you probably won't see it too well just because I'm trying to concentrate, not destroying the eyes. And for any of the black armor panels, we are just using a light grey to do a quick edge highlight. You could use something like Eshin grey or Administratum grey. So next up, I want to show you how I'm going to finish these and base them. Sandy Desert from AK Interactive, really simple, coat all over the base before washing and adding a pigment powder. So with that dry, I'm going to give it a quick coat of Agrax Earthshade all over the base. Finally, I'm going to be using Vallejo pigment powders, light sienna mixed with Lamia medium into sort of this paste, and I'm just going to paint that all over the base. After a quick blast with a hairdryer, I'm going to dry fit the quad launcher on, and now I'm happy with that, I'm going to paint the edge of the base, stick this down and call these guys done. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it, learnt something, and we will see you on the next one.